Sir, you've been nursing that single coffee for more than an hour, occupying one of our prime tables. We need the space for customers who are making purchases. I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to leave," said the young barista. Her tone remained courteous yet firm, laced with the efficient cadence of corporate protocol. Retired Master Sergeant Thomas Tom Sterling, age 78, lifted his gaze from a well-worn paperback, taken aback. He had always ordered a large coffee and a pastry, ensuring he never overstayed what he believed to be a reasonable visit. "I was just wrapping up, young lady," he said quietly, the all-too-familiar sting of embarrassment settling in. 6 minutes later, as Tom slowly gathered his belongings outside the cafe, the trendy background music within came to an abrupt halt. A commanding voice, slightly amplified, addressed the surprised patrons and staff. "Good morning. This is General Alcester Finch. We need to discuss the matter of customer service, especially when it concerns our veterans. If you believe that respect should never have an expiration date, particularly for those who've devoted their lives in service, type respect below." Master Sergeant Tom Sterling, retired from the U.S. Air Force, lived a life defined by quiet routine. His modest, immaculately kept apartment overlooked a peaceful park. His days followed a predictable pattern: early morning strolls, borrowed library history books, and a mid-morning visit to Hidden Sparks' neighborhood cafe, the Daily Grind. The coffee was good, though slightly pricey, and his favorite seat by the window offered a perfect view of the bustling world outside. A widower, Tom's children now lived out of state. After 3 decades managing logistics in the Air Force, ensuring vital supply chains functioned seamlessly across continents, he had developed a reverence for structure, a love of efficiency, and a deep-seated patience. He never lingered beyond reason, yet cherished these moments: his coffee, his book, small, affordable indulgences amid an otherwise frugal lifestyle. He always ordered a large black coffee paired with either a scone or muffin, deliberately striving to be a good patron. He'd stay around an hour, never exceeding 90 minutes, quietly reading without disturbing anyone. Dressed in simple but neat attire, often a collared shirt, comfortable slacks, and a tidy windbreaker, he exuded quiet dignity. He wasn't looking for special treatment, just a corner of calm away from the solitude of his apartment. To most, he was an invisible regular, the kind that blends into the scenery. On this particular day, the Daily Grind was especially crowded. A group of young professionals had taken over multiple tables for an impromptu meeting, laptops out, voices a touch too loud. Tom's usual window spot was occupied, so he chose a smaller 2-seater in the back, pulled out his biography of General Patton, and ordered his regular coffee and a blueberry scone from the barista, Chloe. She looked slightly overwhelmed by the rush. Having paid, he settled into his seat, lost in the rhythm of the cafe and the engaging pages before him. The ambient chatter, the whir of machines, white noise that created a comfortable anonymity. Halfway through his coffee and engrossed in a compelling chapter, Chloe approached him. She held a cleaning cloth, her smile rehearsed but strained. "Excuse me, sir," she began, her tone polite, but with a firmness that immediately put Tom on alert. "Sorry to disturb you, but you've been at this table for a bit over an hour with just the one coffee." Tom looked up. "And a scone," he gently added, "which I've already finished." Chloe nodded, though her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. "Yes, sir, but we're experiencing a rush. As you can see, we have customers waiting for tables, and we generally encourage quicker table turnover during peak hours to accommodate everyone." Tom looked around. There were indeed a few people waiting, but also some vacant, albeit less attractive tables. I was just about to finish this chapter, he said. Well, sir, Chloe pressed, her tone now thinning in politeness. If you don't plan on ordering anything more, I'll have to ask you to free up the table. We need it for other paying customers. The message was clear. Despite his earlier purchase, he no longer qualified as a paying customer. The phrase stung. He had paid. He wasn't loitering. But he also understood how cafes worked. All right, young lady, he said, attempting to mask his disappointment. I'll gather my things. As he closed his book and began collecting his napkin and empty cup, Chloe seemed to take his compliance as license to assert her authority further, perhaps to set an example. And moving forward, she added, her voice raised just enough to draw attention, please be mindful of our peak hour policies. We can't allow customers to camp out all morning. It's unfair to others and to the business. A flush of embarrassment and anger rose in Tom. Camping out? He repeated, his tone calm but firm. I assure you, I'm not camping out. I'm a regular who enjoys a quiet coffee and a book. I believe I've been here less than 75 minutes. Our system tracks seating time, sir, Chloe replied, gesturing to an imaginary watch. You've exceeded the average stay for a single beverage purchase. We need to give all guests a chance to enjoy the daily grind. Her tone was now distinctly condescending, treating him as though he were a defiant child. Tom noticed some of the young professionals nearby smirking into their drinks. Further debate would be pointless. He was being subtly, publicly shamed and asked to leave. Rising slowly, his joints aching, he replied, Very well. I understand your policy. He picked up his windbreaker, his half-finished coffee left behind on the table. He didn't look back. Outside, he found a nearby bench and sat down. The cafe's atmosphere, once comforting, now felt cold and unwelcoming. The situation wasn't just about a coffee or table. It was about being brushed aside, dismissed, deemed inconvenient. A cool breeze stirred and Tom shivered slightly. Pulling out his old cell phone, he hesitated, complained to the manager. Likely fruitless. Leave a bad review? Easily overlooked. Then he remembered something. A fellow veteran at his last VA support group had mentioned a new initiative, a veterans hospitality hotline created by retired officers and civic leaders to address precisely these kinds of experiences. He dialed. A calm, professional voice answered, Veterans Hospitality Hotline. This is Sarah. How can I assist you? Tom explained what had happened, his usual order, the hour spent being told to leave. He mentioned his veteran status, but didn't elaborate. Sarah listened attentively, asking for the cafe's name, location, and the incident's approximate time. Understood, Mr. Sterling, she said. We take these matters very seriously, as they often highlight deeper issues in service culture. If you're able, please remain nearby. We have a board member in the area. We'll see if they can investigate immediately. Tom wasn't optimistic. A local board member? It sounded vague, but just as he considered leaving, he noticed a distinguished man in a sharp civilian suit, silver hair, commanding posture, stand from a nearby restaurant table and walk decisively toward the daily grind. Tom recognized him instantly, even out of uniform. General Alistair Finch, retired 4-star Air Force general, renowned strategist, and vocal advocate for veteran rights. General Finch entered the cafe, surveying the space. He found Chloe assisting another customer, smile intact. He approached the counter. Excuse me, young lady, he began, his voice calm yet unmistakably authoritative. Chloe turned, her smile faltering as she registered who was speaking. Yes, sir. How may I help you? I sincerely hope you can, said General Finch, I'm Alistair Finch, a board member of the Veterans Hospitality Initiative. We received a troubling report moments ago concerning how this establishment treated a veteran. Chloe paled. Jason, the young manager who normally stayed in the back, spotted the general and rushed over. Is there an issue, sir? There is, the general replied coolly. You're Mr. Jason, the manager? Jason nodded nervously. Mr. Jason, Finch continued, your employee here, he gestured at Kaloe, decided to remove a senior veteran, Master Sergeant Thomas Sterling, because she felt he was overstaying his welcome after buying a coffee and scone. Is that your standard practice? Jason looked horrified, shooting Chloe a glare. General, I assure you this is not how we operate. This must be a misunderstanding. There is no misunderstanding, Finch said firmly. I have the report. Sergeant Sterling served his country with honor for 30 years. He was disrespected and humiliated here for enjoying a paid-for coffee and book. Then, raising his voice just enough to command the now silent room, effective immediately, the daily grind will close for the rest of the day. All current orders are to be comped. Staff will convene for a mandatory meeting with myself and Mr. Jason to discuss respect, hospitality, and especially the treatment of those who've served our nation. This cafe will not reopen until I'm confident every employee understands these fundamental principles. The cafe fell into stunned silence. Chloe looked stricken. Jason was already ushering staff into the back room. Some customers murmured in support. Others watched in surprise. Outside, the general found Tom still on the bench. Master Sergeant Sterling, he said, extending his hand. General Alistair Finch, please accept my deepest apologies for what you endured. It was unacceptable. Tom, both astonished and grateful, shook his hand. General, I just made a call. You did exactly right, Finch replied. Sometimes, businesses need a reminder of their duty, to decency, and to those who served. He gestured toward the cafe's now darkened windows. They'll be getting that reminder today, and I suspect their table policy will be different tomorrow. He offered Tom a ride home, which Tom accepted. The two veterans, different eras, same values, shared quiet conversation on the way. The next morning, the daily grind reopened. A new sign stood proudly at the entrance. We proudly welcome and honor our veterans. Please enjoy your stay. Chloe remained employed after what was described as a very long, very humbling meeting with General Finch, but her tone toward customers, especially seniors, was noticeably softer. Among local veterans, the Sterling incident became quiet legend, proof that even small slights, when addressed to the right ears, can bring meaningful change. Tom continued his mid-morning coffee ritual, sometimes at the daily grind, where he now received royal treatment, sometimes elsewhere. He never had to use the Veterans Hospitality Hotline again, but he kept the number, just in case. Because even in the grind of daily life, sometimes a general's voice is needed to defend the quiet dignity of service. Subscribe to Hidden Sparks? If you believe those who've served deserve our time, respect, and the leadership that steps up when values are challenged,